HowExpert Biography, Michael Jordan. Michael Jeffrey Jordan was born on February 17, 1963, in Brooklyn, New York, but his family moved to Wilmington, North Carolina in 1968, and that's where he would spend the rest of his childhood. After 2 years of starring on the varsity basketball team at Emsley A. Laney High School, he earned a scholarship to play for the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. At North Carolina, Jordan would play under the tutelage of the great Dean Smith and help the Tar Heels win the 1982 national championship. During his collegiate career, he would be a two-time NCAA Player of the Year and the ACC Rookie of the Year. Most players with this resume would be the preemptive favorite to be the number one overall pick, but it wasn't exactly viewed that way across the NBA. Not many foresaw the greatness that delved inside of Jordan. Michael Jordan would end up being picked third overall by the Chicago Bulls, as Hakeem Olajuwon would go first to the Houston Rockets, and Sam Bowie would be picked second by the Portland Trail Blazers. Portland's decision to pass on Jordan is often considered one of the worst draft decisions in sports history. Jordan's leaping and scoring ability quickly made him a fan favorite in Chicago and a household name across the league. He would go on to win the Rookie of the Year and make his first of 14 All-Star Game appearances. The Bulls reached the playoffs but were swept in 4 games by the Milwaukee Bucks. Their early playoff exits would be a major storyline in the early part of Jordan's career. Over his first 6 seasons, Jordan would rack up many accomplishments as he would win a league MVP in 1988 and an All-Star Game MVP in 1988 as well. Jordan was also named to the All-Star team 5 times, and NBA Player of the Year in 1988. This was the era he laid the foundation for Air Jordan and his business empire. He would play exhibition games during the offseason all around the world. His leaping ability and skill with basketball helped spread the game of basketball and set the foundation as a world-renowned player and cultural icon. In 1991, Michael Jordan teamed up with Scottie Pippen and led the Chicago Bulls to their first NBA championship. They would beat the Los Angeles Lakers in 4 games to 1, and Jordan would go on to win his second MVP trophy. The championship would go down as his favorite and most memorable of his 6 championships. Over the next 2 years, the Bulls would win 2 more championships and solidify themselves as a dynasty. Off the court, Jordan's brand would explode as his shoes became bestsellers and instantly collectible. He would also star in the movie Space Jam, which was a box office hit. Jordan was quickly one of the most famous people in the entire world. At the top of his game, Jordan did something that only Jordan would do, and retired from professional basketball at the young age of 30. It was a story that shocked the world and was covered in the news across the world. Jordan's father had been murdered at a rest stop in July of 1993, and that contributed to his decision, as his father loved baseball and always stated that he wished Jordan had pursued it. With a heavy heart, Jordan left basketball and began working out for professional baseball teams. The Chicago White Sox would sign Jordan, and they quickly sent him to their Double-A affiliate, the Birmingham Barons. The media circus around his attempt to make it in pro baseball at the time captured the nation. In spring training, where there was usually little media around the minor league fields, legions of TV trucks and anchors were camped out to capture his attempt. Jordan would spend a little over a year playing pro baseball, where he hit .202 with 3 homers and 51 RBIs. Eventually, Jordan got all he wanted out of baseball, and in March of 1995, he decided to return to the NBA. At the time, the Chicago Bulls had a mediocre record of 31-31 during the 1994 to 1995 season. Jordan's late-season comeback would help the Bulls to the playoffs, though they would fall to the Orlando Magic in the semifinals 4 games to 2. Jordan came back better than ever the next season and would win the MVP and lead the Chicago Bulls to an NBA record 72-10 during the regular season. They would go on to defeat the Seattle Supersonics 4 games to 2, and Jordan would win his 4th Finals MVP award. The Bulls would go on to beat the Utah Jazz in the 1997 and 1998 NBA Finals, completing their second three-peat. This would include the legendary flu game for Jordan that occurred in Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals. Jordan had been suffering from the flu, even getting sick before the start of the game. Even a sick Jordan couldn't be stopped, as he would end up scoring 38 points, including the game-winning three-pointer with 25 seconds left to push the series in favor of the Bulls. In January 1999, Jordan announced his second retirement from professional basketball. He was considered the greatest basketball player in the history of the game. Jordan quickly purchased part ownership of the Washington Wizards and took control of the basketball operations. He added former Bulls such as Doug Collins to lead the team, and rumors swirled that he was looking to make a comeback. In September of 2001, Jordan officially announced his comeback for the second time in his career. Jordan would play 2 seasons with the Wizards and would make the All-Star team in his first season. At age 39 and then again at age 40, Jordan would average over 20 points per game. Jordan's comeback did little to help the Washington Wizards in their win-loss column. He often questioned the team around him, even though he had a role in building the team. After his 14th season, at age 40, Jordan decided to hang it up in 2003. When you think of the greatest athletes of all time, Michael Jordan probably comes to mind first. If you go anywhere in the world and utter the name Michael Jordan, everyone will know exactly who you're talking about. Since his retirement, Jordan became part owner of the Charlotte Hornets and is one of the richest athletes in the world and inspired the growth of basketball around the world. No one has meant more or is more synonymous with the game of basketball than Michael Jordan. HowExpert publishes guides to all topics from A to Z by everyday experts. Visit HowExpert.com to learn more.